Obama traveling to the nerve center of the U.S. offensive against the terrorists, and his top domestic security officials traveling to Capitol Hill to talk about just how dangerous the threat from ISIS really is. We have Fox team coverage, Doug McKelway in the Bureau with today's testimony before Congress. But we begin with Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry and the president's continued conundrum about American boots on the ground against ISIS and late word, Ed, of funding for the war effort.
Good evening, Brett. That's right. The House just voted to give the president the power and $500 million to train and arm the Syrian rebels. But there's trouble on another front. There's now 3 top defense leaders suggesting U.S. ground troops should at least be on the table. His credibility on the line over whether he'll stick to his promise of not sending U.S. combat troops to Iraq or Syria. President Obama visited U.S. Central Command and tried to close the door opened by his top military advisor, General Martin Dempsey.
The American forces that have been deployed to Iraq do not and will not have a combat mission.
Note the president's insistence of no combat mission, leaving the possibility U.S. troops standing beside Iraqi forces could still see combat. As his own former defense secretary Bob Gates flatly told CBS News, the U.S. cannot win without sending in combat troops.
So there will be boots on the ground if there's to be any hope of success in the strategy. And I think that by continuing to repeat that, the president, in effect, traps himself.
The president also doubled down on his claims the U.S. can count on the Iraqis to serve as the ground troops.
It is more effective to use our unique capabilities in support of partners on the ground so they can secure their own country's futures.
Even though General Ray Odierno, the Army Chief of Staff, today raised serious questions about the Iraqi forces, saying they did not fight at all when confronted by ISIS. Odierno telling print reporters about ISIS, quote, "You've got to have ground forces that are capable of going in and rooting them out," adding that U.S. airstrikes, quote, "will not be the end-all and be-all solution in Iraq." The president, though, is facing real political pressure from the left.
We are not there to support combat troops in any of these engagements.
The president's own support continues to dip, with a new New York Times CBS News poll finding 34% approve of his handling of foreign policy, 58% disapprove. Democrats like Joe Manchin are openly questioning the president's strategy and the coalition that Secretary of State John Kerry says he's putting together.
But as most important, it is to know your enemy. It is equally important to know our allies. And I'm not confident that we know who our allies are.
As Kerry faced heat from key Republicans.
This doesn't even seem serious. It seems like a political answer to the United States as they cry out about this uncivilized activity.
I must say to you, I really find it somewhat surprising, as we have come back from a week of very serious meetings with nations around the world, all of whom are committed to this, that you sit there and suggest that it's not serious.
Now, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani denounced ISIS for its savagery in an interview with NBC News, but he also charged the U.S. coalition is ridiculous, saying the White House is scared of casualties on the ground in Iraq. Brett?
Ed Henry live on the North Lawn. Ed, thank you. Obama administration officials say illegals from almost 150 countries, some of them state sponsors of terrorism, have crossed into the U.S. through the southern border. ISIS has made no secret of its intention to bring its holy war to America. Tonight, correspondent Doug McKelway reports to prevent that from happening in the future, it is useful to examine how it's happened in the past.
Egyptian-born Mahmoud Abu Halima stayed in the U.S. after his tourist visa expired by claiming to be an agricultural worker. Nobody checked. 7 years later, he helped carry out the first World Trade Center bombing. Today, his story resonated as 3 top Obama administration officials testified about the latest efforts to protect the homeland from a new generation of terrorists.
How will you assure the American people that another Abu Halima will not slip through the cracks?
Congressman, I am very focused on knowing as much as we can about individuals who are undocumented in this country. If an earned path to citizenship were to become law, that would encourage people to come forward and submit to a background check.
Do we honestly believe that any would-be terrorists or criminal or drug dealer is going to come forward to have a criminal background check done on them?
Some members were concerned that hard lessons learned are today being minimized by the administration.
We have known for many months that ISIS was surging and represented the top threat to the United States. But the White House dithered without taking action, and the president played down the danger.
Despite this summer's wave of illegal border crossings, DHS Secretary Johnson reassured the committee that between 70 to 90% are apprehended. But he was confronted with another set of DHS's own facts.
We've apprehended people from 143 different countries. 143 countries. According to the internal statistics, 13 were from Syria, 6 were from Iraq, 4 were from Iran.
But the porous border is only one access route.
But so are airports, because many of them come from visa waiver countries that allow them immediate access to our nation.
Witnesses told the committee they know who most of the American passport holders fighting for ISIS are, but not all, given the sheer magnitude of world travel.
There's thousands of ways to get from the United States to Syria, and there's tens of thousands of Americans who travel for legitimate purposes every single day.
That doesn't include the growing homegrown threat. Yesterday, prosecutors indicted Mufid Elgi of Rochester, New York, charged with attempted murder and providing material support to ISIS.
The committee heard today that despite ISIS's growth, it is al-Qaeda that remains the biggest terrorist threat, and their fight for supremacy may be driving up recruitment for both organizations as each vies for world media attention. Brett?
Doug, thank you. Well, what do you think? Do you think ISIS will strike here in America? Let me know.